Hi, good morning. Welcome to Entrusted Medical Devices. Today we'll unpack and see in detail about the Entrusted Oxygen Concentrator. Our model number is called Oxycare Plus 5 LPM, and 5 LPM stands for 5 liters per minute, and it comes with a built-in nebulizer. So as you can see, that is the main package in the carton box. The concentrator weighs 16 kilograms. It has an inbuilt port for nebulization, and it comes with a digital timer. And also there are alarms to indicate whether the machine is switched on, switched off, power failure, low power, low pressure, high pressure, which I'll go in detail during the unpacking. And you can see the accessories on the table. Generally, the main thing when a person purchases a concentrator, he has to make sure that the voltage in his place is proper. So unlike the other medical equipments, say for example like a CPAP or a BiPAP device, which requires only 60 watts, the concentrator requires around 350 watts. So it has a heavy duty compressor which will draw more power from your house. So always make sure that hire a professional electrician or using a multimeter, check the voltage at your place and make sure it is 220 volts, and it should be in the range of plus or minus 10 volts. So maximum the voltage coming from your house can be 230 and the lower limit can be 210. So the machine will only operate in these power ranges. So if the voltage is more, say for example if it is 240 or 245 plus, then you will need to buy a stabilizer. And you can see here, this is a high grade medical stabilizer, medical grade servo stabilizer. And the reason for using a servo stabilizer is that even if the voltage shoots up to 260, it has the capacity to bring to 220 or 230. So why we don't use the normal stabilizers which you see, which we use for the TV or fridges, that those stabilizers will have a low kVA capacity, whereas these machines are designed for 1.5 kVA capacity. And so whether you buy it from us or you buy it from outside, you should have a stabilizer of 1.5 kVA output if the voltage range is more than 230 volts at your location. If the voltage is already stabilized and if you are getting 220 volts at your location, there is no need for going for an additional stabilizer. The one you are seeing here is a 1.5 kVA servo stabilizer, and generally these servo stabilizers range around 10,000 rupees. And if you want a normal stabilizer, 5-stage stabilizer which is still 1.5 kVA, you'll be able to get it around 7,500 rupees. So when you're purchasing a stabilizer for the concentrator, whichever brand, make sure that you're going for at least 1.5 kVA power capacity stabilizer, which can limit the output voltage to 230 volts. So it should not be a higher output voltage range. The output voltage range should be in the range of 230 volts. Okay. Now one more thing you are going to see is an oxygen analyzer. So this is basically a laboratory equipment which companies like us will have in order to check the purity of the oxygen coming from the equipment. That also I will be showing to you when we are going to unpack the new equipment. And the advertised purity for our concentrator is 93% plus or minus 3%. The plus or minus 3% is for the altitude compensation. Say for example you are going to take the concentrator at a higher altitude, it may drop to 3%. That's why it is mentioned as 93% plus or minus 3. So this is a laboratory equipment which is not for sale. And now coming on to the accessories which you will find inside the box, there will be nasal cannulas. These are also called nasal prongs, which will be connected to the patient. You will have 2 numbers of this inside the box, and you will have a nebulizer kit also along with the box. This is the standard nebulizer kit which will come along with the box. And if you want, this is the puff type. In case if you want something as a mask type, you will be able to take it from any medical store or from any surgical shops, and a good quality mask nebulizer will cost you somewhere around 300 rupees. So this is an optional purchase. Other than that, another optional purchase is our pulse oximeters. And pulse oximeter, generally it's a fingertip pulse oximeter. Using this equipment, you will be able to find out the saturated oxygen of the patient. So generally those who are buying oxygen concentrators, they will be constantly required to monitor their oxygen levels. For those in need, they can purchase the pulse oximeters, and generally a good quality pulse oximeter will range somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 rupees. It depends upon the brand and the configuration. Now I am going to unpack the concentrator and explain to you in detail about its working, what to do, what not to do, how to replace the filters. It's going to be a complete video explaining in detail about the full process. So once you place the order with us, you'll be receiving the concentrator in a carton box like this. So first thing you're going to do is that you're going to remove the tags, remove all the sellotapes covering the carton box. And once you open the carton box, the main thing, first thing you'll be taking out are the accessories that are associated with your oxygen concentrator. So I'm going to keep this aside. I'm going to tell you in detail about each item. Okay, now coming on to the main unit, make sure to firmly hold it and remove it and keep it aside. As you can see, this will weigh around 16 kilograms. So make sure before you're taking it outside from the box. Okay. Now keep the box aside. Let me first explain you about the accessories. So first thing you're going to find in this compartment is the power cord for the concentrator. Keep it aside. Then you're going to take out the humidifier bottle. Okay. And a brand new nebulizer kit. 2 sets of nasal prongs or nasal cannulas. And keep this also very safe. This is an extra pair of filters which we can change it after a period of a year or so, depending upon the dust in your place and depending upon the filter quality, we can change it later. So there is an extra set of primary filter, secondary filter, and also a user manual along with the test report and the quality certificate. Okay, so these are the complete set of accessories. Now let us switch on the concentrator and see it's working, and also tell you how to use the nebulizer ports and the cannulas. Okay. So first I'll explain to you about the buttons and the ports available on the concentrator. So there is a digital display on the concentrator which is going to show you the accumulation time, switch times, and the output pressure coming from the device. There is a knob. This is to adjust the flow rate of the concentrator. Say for example, your doctor has prescribed you 2 liters per minute of oxygen concentrator. You need to rotate the knob anti-clockwise so that you are going to set it at 2. Once you keep it at 2, you can remove your hand and that settings will be stored in the device. This is the on and off button, and these are the indicator alarms. And indicator alarms, this is for the power on, this is for the power failure, this is for the low pressure, high pressure, low oxygen and high oxygen. Once you switch on the device, I'll explain to you in detail. And this is the port for nebulization. So this concentrator, you can use it in 2 methods. You can use it for oxygenation. At the same time, when you are not using it for oxygen, you can use this optional port for nebulization. And this is the oxygen output port. So generally, once you switch on the device, oxygen is going to get exited from this port only. That also I'll tell you in detail. Now I'm going to switch on the device. Switching on is very simple. We are going to take the power cord, and just like using any other electronic device, we are going to connect it. Before that, one more main thing I will let you know. Since these concentrators will be coming to you through couriers or through our staff, we always protect our concentrators and its compressor by giving a small knot at the back side. So always remember to first disconnect that knot before you are going to switch on the concentrator. So in order to do that, place the device downwards and make sure to remove this knot. It's very simple to remove. So this tag has to be either removed or you have to cut it and take it outside before you are going to switch on. If you are going to run the concentrator along with this tag, it may damage the compressor. So this tag is mainly given in order to protect the compressor during the transport. So now that I have removed the tag, I am going to keep it aside, and let's go ahead with switching on the concentrator. You can see the power port. Just press it, no need to push in so hard. Once it gets the contact, leave it. I am going. Okay. Now, only thing you need to do is you are going to switch on the power button, and you can see the green color light. It indicates that power is on. There is no voltage issues. The machine is running fine, and you can see If I am going to rotate this knob clockwise, it's going to decrease the oxygen flow rate. When I am rotating anti-clockwise, it is increasing the oxygen flow rate. And if you carefully observe, in every 8 seconds, you are going to hear a flush sound. That sound is nothing but the nitrogen that is getting exited from the device. So generally when nitrogen is going to get exited from the device, the machine is going to store in oxygen and is going to deliver purified oxygen from this output port. And generally for 90% or even 95% of the patients, doctors will advise them to use the concentrator along with humidifier. So the general practice is that you have to fill the humidifier bottle. There will be 2 markings, minimum and maximum. You can fill water in between both these levels, and that will be sufficient for almost a night time. You are going to place the humidifier bottle here, and from the oxygen output port, you just need to connect this. So what will happen is that oxygen will enter the humidifier bottle. Water will enter the humidifier bottle. It will get humidified, and after that it is going to exit from this particular port from the humidifier bottle. So what we are going to do is that we are going to attach cannulas from this point to the patient. So I'm just going to open one cannula and I'm going to show to you. So I'm going to open a brand new cannula. So as you can see, 2 high quality nasal cannulas or nasal prongs will be given along with your purchase. In future, if you want to change these cannulas, you can get it from many surgical shops or medical stores, or even you can call us. We will be able to ship it directly to you. So we are going to attach one end of the cannula here, and these nasal prongs needs to be attached to the patient. So these 2 go into the nostrils, and the other end you have to tie it around your ears, and you have to tighten it according to the comforters of the patient. So this is how you attach the nasal cannulas. And now, adding water. As I told you, the water needs to be purified water or distilled water. You cannot add salt water, or there is no need to boil the water and then add it. Just add purified water, which is free from salt. In case you are going to add salt water or water with salt content, automatically these ports will get clogged and back pressure will happen on the device, thereby breaking the compressor. So always make sure when you are adding water, add only purified water, RO water, or if possible add distilled water. That is the best. So that's how we are going to use the concentrator. And now I will tell you about the alarms in detail. So as you can see, once we switch on, after some time the display goes to a blank state. This is just like an auto saver function, because you are not going to get any required output from the display. In case if you still want to see the display, press this down button, 2 times press it. The second time this will again get switched on. So you are going to just see the switch time and the output pressure, operation time and accumulation time. So generally the accumulation time is nothing but it is going to indicate how long the machine has run from its start until date. Switch time is going to indicate the switching times. Whenever you are going to switch on for one particular session, how many hours it has run. And basically the other 2 things is for the pressure and the output time, how much time you have used the device in this particular operation. So these are going to indicate all these. And in case if you want to use the timer function, you need to press the upward arrow, and each time you press the timer button, the timer will get activated by 10 minutes. Say for example, if you want to set the timer for 1 hour, you are going to press the up arrow 6 times. Then exactly after 1 hour, the machine will get switched off. And once the machine is switched off, in order to switch it back again, you need to power off and power on. So it's up to you whether you want to use the timer. So this is for the backlight. Now coming on to the alarms, this power on, and in case if the power is going to get failed, you will get a red color light here, which means power failure. Power failure will happen only during 2 times. Either your electrical supply is off, or otherwise you have disconnected the power cord, that is backside of the device, you have not placed it properly, or maybe there is a disconnection in your main board. So that is the only time you are going to get the power failure. Now coming on to third alarm, this is low pressure, and fourth alarm is high pressure. Low pressure or high pressure happens to the compressor when there is a voltage fluctuations. So that is what in the beginning of the video also I was telling you. Compared to all the other medical equipments, concentrator is the only device which requires a very precise and proper voltage. since it has almost a 350 watts compressor inside, we have to always make sure the voltage entering the device is constant. And if you find the voltage is an issue at your location, you need to get a medical grade stabilizer, or at least a stabilizer which has 1.5 kVA output capacity and which is going to limit the upper voltage at 230 volts. If you are going to get a normal stabilizer which we are going to use for TV or fridge, that will not work with the oxygen concentrators. So whenever this low pressure or high pressure light comes, make sure that the voltage in your place is proper, or try to source a stabilizer or give us a call. Now coming on to the last two alarms, low oxygen or high oxygen. So low oxygen purity happens when inside there is a molecular sieve, and over a period of time, if you are going to use this machine, say for example after 10 years or 12 years, this will require a major service. At that point of time, we will be replacing the molecular sieve, and this indicator is going to indicate that the sieve needs to be replaced. And high oxygen generally comes when there is a fault in the sensor which is sensing the oxygen purity. So these are all the alarms associated with the device. Now let us see about the nebulization port also. So as I told you in the beginning of the video, the main advantage about our brand Concentrator is that you are going to use it as a concentrator, and whenever you want you can also use it as a nebulizer. So how we are going to use the nebulizer? Before using the nebulizer, make sure to bring the oxygen flow rate to 0, because both concentrator and the nebulizer is going to use the same compressor. If you are going to use both the operations together, the compressor will take a heavy load. So always remember to make the concentrator settings to 0, and once it is come to 0, you can rotate the nebulization port anti-clockwise. And as you can see, the nebulization has started. I will also attach a nebulizer kit and show to you how it functions. And when you want to bring the nebulizer back to 0, you can switch this off, and again you can go back and increase the oxygen flow rate. So this is the working of the nebulization port, and for the video I am going to show you a nebulizer kit also. Okay. During the unpacking I showed you a nebulizer kit. I am going to just unpack and show you the contents of the nebulizer kit and how to attach it. So the nebulizer kit that comes along with the device is of the mouthpiece type, and it's the same like any other standby nebulizer which you are going to find. You are going to pour your medicines into this compartment, and this compartment also comes with the volume levels. Say for example, if you want to administer 4 cc of medicines, you can just close it at this level, and once you pour in the medicine, make sure to properly close it. There should not be any openings or any loose markings. Make sure it is completely sealed, otherwise the nebulization will not be proper. So once you have kept the nebulizer bottle ready, attaching the other things are very easy. There will be a T connector. Just you are going to place it upright, and on one end you are going to attach the mouthpiece, and other end it is for the nebulization smoke to escape. So generally the user will be puffing, he will be inhaling from this port, and his exhalation will be coming through this port. The fumes and the steam will be coming through this port. So now coming on to the nebulizer itself, attaching is very simple. One end is going to go to the nebulizer port, and the other end, be careful, it is going to go at the downside of the nebulizer bottle. So once this is ready, as I told you, bring the oxygen to 0 and you can start the nebulization. This is the way to use the nebulization, and once your nebulization process is done, always make sure to rotate the knob clockwise and make sure the nebulization is 0, and then you again switch on the concentrator part so that oxygen is getting outputted. And always remember, don't keep both the ports closed. Either you should be, whenever you are switching on the device, make sure that either you are using it as for the oxygen concentration or you are going to use it for the nebulization part. Keeping both at 0 will cause back pressure to the compressor. So always make it a practice. When you are going to use the nebulizer, you are going to bring this to 0 and you are going to switch on the nebulization. And after the nebulization is done, bring the nebulizer to 0 and increase the oxygen flow rate. So this is the standard practice. Now the next part I am going to tell you how to replace the filters, what are the maintenance required so that the lifetime of the device comes for a longer time. I'm going to change you how to replace the filters and what maintenance to do for the concentrator. So first thing you have to do is that you have to switch off the device. I've kept the nebulization port to 0 and oxygen flow rate at 2. Very well you can switch off the device when the oxygen flow rate is there, because when you again switch on, it will again go back to the same level which you have kept it. So there's no need to adjust the flow rate each and every time. Say for example, my flow rate required is 2. I set the knob at 2. Straight away I can go and switch off the device. So after some period of time, that ball will come down to 0, and when I want to switch on the machine again, automatically the ball will rise to 2, indicating that the output flow is 2 liters per minute. So before we clean the filter or replace the filter, you need to switch off the device and see this port on the left side of the machine. Just press this button and you can see the filter. Now since this is a new machine, the filters are very clean. But when you are using the device and after a period of a week or 2, you will find some dust particles. This is basically the dust available on your room, or dust due to sweeping or etc. There will be some dust on these filters. So the correct procedure is to take out these filters and dust it properly. You can just tap it and you can remove the dust, or even if there is heavy dust, you can soak it in water, make it completely dry and then reinsert it. So cleaning the primary filter is very simple, and as a good practice, always check your filters at least once in a week. Now I am going to tell you about the secondary filter. Just add it back the same way you took it out. Yeah. Now secondary filters, you can see a small bottle here. You need to hold this up and rotate it in the anti-clockwise direction. So once you rotate it anti-clockwise and take it out, this is the secondary filter. This also follow the same procedure, and after a period of time you will see some black spots here. That is mainly due to heat, nothing to worry about it, and you can very well change the secondary filter after a period of 1 year. Until then there won't be any necessity to change the secondary filter. And if this is also dusty, make sure to just clean it, and you can follow the same procedure like the primary filter. And once the cleaning process is done, make sure to properly fit in back, then put it in the container back, and now you have to rotate it clockwise so that it gets locked. Yes, now I have locked it, and make sure it's not coming out. Then again place the primary filter proper until you hear the click sound. That's all. So now we have seen also the changing of the filters, and I have told you how to do the changing also. And replacing it, you can always talk to us. We can also see the quality of the filter at that point of time, and we will advise you when to change it. But at a standard practice, these filters are being changed after a period of 1 year. Okay. So for those who want these type of nebulizers, these are nothing but the mass type of nebulizers, which I told you you'll be able to fetch around 300 rupees or something. So this is also connecting to the nebulizer port is same. Just we are going to connect it in the same nebulizer port. The output is going to go in here, and rest of the things are the same. We are going to fill the liquid in this container. As per the advice of your doctor, fill it to the required level, and just you are going to close it. And I will just switch on, and I am going to use it for the nebulization. So I am going to bring the concentrator to 0. I am going to switch on the nebulization. Yeah. So you can see the nebulization output from the mask. And once the nebulization is done, make sure to bring it to 0 and switch back the concentration. Also, in the next part of the video, I am going to show to you the oxygen output, or the purity of oxygen coming from the device. So this, as I told you in the beginning of the video, this is an oxygen analyzer. This is a laboratory equipment and not for sale. And now as you can see, the atmospheric oxygen purity is 20.9. Now we are going to check it on our oxygen concentrator, OxyCare Plus. We are going to check it out. So what we need to do is that we are going to remove this humidifier bottle. As I told you, oxygen will get outputted from this particular port. So we are going to switch on the device. And since before switching off I kept the oxygen knob at 2 LPM, it has automatically risen to 2. And now I am going to Here itself you check the oxygen is getting outputted. Now let us check the purity of the oxygen. I am going to directly connect it here. And once I connect it, the value is starting to get increased. Let us see the maximum value it reaches. You can see with each flushing sound, the concentration is getting increased because at that particular point the nitrogen is getting flushed out. And after the n number of cycles, automatically the oxygen will get stabilized at the purity. And already as per our guaranteed level, it has crossed. We are giving a guarantee of 93% plus or minus 3. So already you can see the concentrator has reached the purity level of 92%. Anyways, let us wait and see the maximum it reaches. Okay, now you can see the concentrator has almost reached 94.4% and it's keeping on increasing. So it's more than the guaranteed level which we are quoting to the customer. So now that we have checked the oxygen purity using the analyzer, the next few things I am going to tell you is how to connect the cannula to the inpatient, the proper way of connecting the cannula, and also what to do and what not to do. I am going to show you the proper way of connecting the nasal cannula to the patient. So I have switched on the device. Oxygen is getting outputted. It is going through the humidifier. It is taking the water. It is getting humidified. And from this output port, it has to go to the patient using a cannula. The proper way to connect the cannula, just see at the mannequin. You can see the two nasal prongs are going inside the mouth, and it has to be aligned in such a way that it is going through the ears, so that there is a lock for adjustment. As per the comfortability of that particular patient, you can adjust it and make sure full oxygen is going into the nostrils. That will benefit the patient. So this is the proper way of connecting the nasal cannula to the customer. And same way, when you are going to use the nebulizer, it's very simple. Remove the cannula, keep it aside, use the nebulization port. If you are going to wear the mask, make sure there is no leakage, wear it properly, bring it to 0 and start the nebulization. And even if you are going to use the mouthpiece, it's going to be the same. You are just going to puff it and you are going to release the fumes. So this is the way of properly connecting the nasal cannula to the patient. I have shown you the demonstration. For video purpose, we kept this concentrator on the table and showed you. But the correct procedure and the only proper procedure is to keep the concentrator only at the ground level. As you can see, even if the patient is on a higher level, or say for example if he is on the bed, the concentrator has to be kept only on the ground. It should not be kept on a table and used, because if you are going to keep the table at the equivalent level or upper level compared to the patient, water from the humidifier may pass on directly to the patient, and there will be chances of moisture getting trapped in the nasal cannula due to gravity. So always make sure the concentrator has to be placed on the ground, and the gap between the concentrator and the wall has to be at least 1 feet or a few meters away. The main reason for doing that is for the heat to dissipate easily. If you are going to keep the concentrator very close to the walls, there won't be any surface area for the heat to get dissipated. The machine will get heated up more quicker. So always make sure that these things are very much properly followed. And as you can see, if you check out the wheels, they will come with 4 locks. Say for example, if you want to keep the machine very sturdy, you need to press that lock, which also I will show to you. You just need to tap it. Now the wheel, that particular wheel has got lock. Similarly, you can do for all the wheels, and before you are going to move it around, make sure to unlock it. Otherwise the wheels will get stuck. So these are the main things. Now I will just summarize. Now let me summarize all the points that we discussed. So the model which you are seeing is Entrusted Oxycare Plus 5 LPM, 5 liters per minute with built-in nebulizer, and it's a heavy duty 350 watts capacity compressor, and as you can see, it is totally 16 kilograms weight, and it comes with an optional nebulizer port, and it has a digital display. So the main things to remember first is that before buying a concentrator, make sure the voltage at your place is proper. In case if you have voltage fluctuations, talk to us and try to book a stabilizer also along with your purchase, which is sold separately. And there are 2 options for stabilization. You can go for the best, that is servo stabilizer, which will work in all the scenarios, or if the voltage is not very bad and if you are getting a voltage fluctuations of plus or minus 10 volts or plus or minus 20 volts, you can go for the 5-stage relay stabilizers, which will cost you approximately 7,500 per unit. Or even if you are not buying from us, if you want to buy from external source, always make sure that you are getting a 1.5 kVA capacity stabilizer. And the question you may ask me, why the machine is only 350 watts but you require a stabilizer of 1.5 kVA? The answer is very simple. It is not like TV or fridge. It has a compressor running inside. So always the starting current will be 5 times more. So always it is better, and it is compulsory to have a 1.5 kVA stabilizer. And that 1.5 kVA stabilizer also should have a maximum output voltage range of 230 volts. So if you are going to get any stabilizer which is not going to be exactly compatible with oxygen concentrators, you are still going to get the same error. And whenever the voltage is fluctuating, you may be getting the low pressure or the high pressure alarms. And whenever you get that alarm, the machine will go into a fail-safe mode. The machine is not going to get damaged, but at the same time you will not be able to get the oxygen output. It will go into a standby mode, so that once it gets back the proper voltage, until that time the machine will not get switched on. So the main thing about the concentrator is that proper voltage. Second main thing, placement of the concentrator. Always 1 feet away from the wall, and the wheels are better if they are in the lock position, and always it has to be on the ground surface. Third main thing, humidification. When you are adding the water in the humidifier, it should be purified water, RO water, and there should not be any salt in the humidifier bottle. And always make sure not to exceed the maximum mark, otherwise unnecessary water droplets may enter the nasal cannulas. And apart from that, the timers also, use the timers only when required. If you want to check out the display, make sure to press the down button. If you are going to press the upward button, this particular button, the automatically timer will get switched on. And another main thing, this machine either you need to use it as a concentrator or as a nebulizer. So when you're using it as a concentrator, adjust the flow rate and keep it at whatever levels you want, and make sure the nebulizer port is closed. And when you want to use the nebulization, make sure to bring the oxygen flow knob to 0 and then switch on the nebulizer port. Always remember, do not keep both these things at 0. Either one of it should be switched on. Also, another important point, when people purchase oxygen concentrator, general question they have is that whether it can be run for 24 hours continuously. The simple answer for that is that you can, but it is not advised to do so, because that will bring down the life of the equipment. Concentrator is also a medical device which will need some break intermittently. So the correct advice for a longer lifetime is that once in every 8 hours, try to give the machine a break of at least 15 to 30 minutes. It is not something like you cannot run. You can very well run the machine for even more than 48 hours also. Even the alarm settings indicates that you can keep it at 48 hours for one complete stretch. But the correct procedure in order to reduce the load on the compressor is that always 8 hours once. If you give the machine a break, the lifetime of the compressor, the filters and the overall equipment will be more. So that is a kind recommendation. And for any other queries, you can feel free to contact us by writing an email or dropping your comments below, or you can very well contact us at 7397 449991. Thanks for watching Entrusted. Have a good day.